tunes lined up?
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
You can talk about pretty women all you want, but brother, first you ought to see mine. You can talk about pretty women, but boy, first you ought to see mine. Now when that woman start to moving, she bring eyesight to the blind. Daddy must have been a millionaire, you know, you can tell by the way she walk. She got that Ivanka strut. Daddy must have been a millionaire, you can tell by the way she walk. And when that woman start to move and the deaf and mute begin to talk. Talk to me. I remember the evening we were stretched out across the bed. Dying man next door quit dying, lifted up his head and said, "Woo, she's good looking, and the whole state knows she's fine." And when that woman start to moving, she bring eyesight to the blind. Last Friday evening, we were stretched out across the bed. The dying man next door quit dying, lifted up his head and said, "Oh, Lord, she's good looking. And the whole state knows she's fine." And when that woman start to moving, she bring eyesight to the blind.
Oh, thank you so much, David Bromberg.
Is this actually live right now?
Not right this minute.
Then
On YouTube? Oh.
Oh, okay. Then we should keep going. Otherwise,
Yes.
I'd say we'd do that one over. We usually take 2 solos apiece, so there's a little confusion.
Ah, well. Anyway, thank you so much for coming by the KDHX studios. You'll be performing tonight at the Wildy Theater over in Edwardsville. I think it's a 7:30 show. Would you like to introduce the band for us today?
Okay, Mark, that's Josh. Josh, that's Mark. This is Mark Cosgrove playing the other guitar. Josh Kanuski playing the drums. Slavik Zenyashenko playing bass. And Nate Grower playing the fiddle.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming by the KDHX studios this afternoon. So why don't we just get back to some music? And
Okay.
you're welcome to do
Well, the
two
next
solos
one.
on that one.
1, 2, 3, 4. After you get through with me, who will the next fool be? I know, I know, I know, I know. There's things he'd like to know about the one I love so. After all is said and done, you won't be satisfied with anyone. After you get rid of me, Who will the next fool be? Will he believe all those lies and end up like me with tears all in his eyes? Oh, I know, I know, I know, I know. And I'd sure like to be the one to tell him so. After all is said and done, you won't be satisfied with anyone after you get rid of me. Who will the next fool be?
That's the David Bromberg Band right here in the KDHX studios. Thank you so much for coming out today. Over the years, you have collaborated with a bunch of people, including that album Use Me that came out, what was that, a couple of years ago?
Uh-huh.
And you do originals, but I really enjoy the fact that you've taken other people's material and made it your own.
Well, I actually have no choice in that. No matter how hard I try to sound exactly like whoever it is I stole the tune from, it always sounds like me, and I'm stuck with it.
Well, you've played with a who's who of musicians across multiple genres, from Vassar Clements, Bob Dylan, Jerry Garcia, Levon Helm. Are these just people you met along the way over the years?
Mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
George Harrison, how did you end up meeting with him?
Well, I'm not sure I remember exactly where we met. I have this thing in my mind that we might have met in Columbia Studios, Wandering the Halls. But we wrote a song together on Thanksgiving Eve in, I don't remember what year it was, 1904, 1905. And and we were at a private home, and there was one little gut string guitar that belonged to the daughter of the family, and that was the only guitar there. And George and I are both guitar junkies, so we were passing the guitar back and forth, and we weren't trying to write a song, but we ended up writing a song.
That's a great story about how songs come about. I enjoy hearing those kinds of things about how songs come to be. So, um, anyway, once again, you're performing tonight at the Wildy Theater over in Edwardsville, and we're really looking forward to having you back in our town. You took a few years off from touring,
A few, about 22.
about 22.
Yeah.
Was there any reason why you decided to go back out and tour again, or?
I started having fun playing music again. I stopped because I wasn't having fun. I was working too much, and it really interrupted a nice arc of my career. I mean, I was doing really well, but I was doing so well because I was working way too much. So I put it aside. It was only burnout, but I was too dumb to realize that. I thought I was not a musician, maybe, and I didn't want to be one of these guys who drags himself on stage and does a bitter imitation of what he used to love. So I found another way to live my life that I enjoyed.
And you spent a lot of times making, building, repairing violins.
Well, I learned to build violins so I would know how to look at them. What I do with violins is identify them, which you can't really do unless you have a pretty good idea of how they're made in different countries and so on.
So, yeah, okay. So, and then you, during that time, though, I think you occasionally did some coffee houses or some local performing where you live.
Yeah, it was kind of like if you've ever been at a picnic where somebody has a softball and a glove and a bat, and everybody goes out and you play softball and you don't think about it again till the next picnic where there's a bat and a ball.
Well, once again, thank you so much for coming by the KDHX studios. Do you want to introduce this last song for us?
Okay, well, I'm doing this one because you asked for it, and it's one of my own. It's called "Mean It Too." I saw Ricky on TV telling people how to live. He sure had a lot to say, but not a lot to give. Oh, Ricky, those are sure fine words. But step back and look at what you do. You know it's not enough to say things. You got to mean them too. I heard Lori sing last night. First time in 20 years. She sang me all her own songs. Near brought me to tears. And she sang straight from the heart, just like all great singers do. She knows it's not enough to say things. You've got to mean them too. It's a thing you teach your children. You know they learn from watching you. It's all in how you do things. You gotta mean them too. It's the thing you teach your children. You know they learn from watching you. It's all in how you do things. You gotta mean them too. I'll tell you why I wrote this song. I wrote it for my wife. Somehow we've always stayed together. While I played blind man's bluff with life. And every time we touch or kiss, each time I say I love you. And every time that we make love, with all my soul, I mean it too.
Thank you very much to the David Bromberg Band, and we appreciate you coming by today.
Thanks for having us. We had fun.